that goes from the different geopolitical zone to source for this athlete.
Well, I'm sure they must be listening to us now, and I believe that these are some of the questions the Athletics Federation of Nigeria can answer. But gentlemen, can we expect anything significant from the Nigerian participants at the 2013 Youth Championship in Ukraine?
I think we can. I think we should.
Honestly?
Yeah, I think we can. I think we should. We've always thought anytime a Nigerian team contingent is going outside, what grabbed the headlines is the shorty preparations.
Then, of course, they end up delivering. But we can't expect miracles every time. Or is shorty preparations now the secret to our success?
No,
it can't happen
not exactly.
Year in, year out.
Not exactly, but I still feel with some of these competitions that Nodi has mentioned, I mean, some of these athletes have been kept busy. And well, in Warrior as well, we did well. I mean, we were on top, and I feel some of these athletes will do well. We just have 17 of them. Most of these athletes are choosing in fields where they have comparative advantage.
Now, my major concern in this case is the weather. Remember, that's far Eastern Europe, and
it's a big factor.
Exactly. Now, you know, yeah, global warming and all that, but then Ukraine is always experiencing sometimes just above zero temperatures, sub-zero temperatures, and they just arrived after a long flight from Turkey.
Especially for people from this part of the world.
And many of them, or if not all of them, are not based abroad. So from very high temperatures to very low temperatures, I think that might be a very decisive factor against.
Charlie, for Nigeria, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, because if you look at our participation in the past, the last 3-4 editions, since this tournament started in 1999, I don't know whether we've won any medal. I don't know. The best African country has gotten is Kenya. And you know the Kenyans.
Of course, when it comes to long
distance races, 2000,
whether on land or whether in the sea.
So they know how to prepare themselves for a tournament like this. They know their strength, and they try to pull more men and women into this area so that they continue to dominate the long distance races. So Kenya has been African best as far as this tournament is concerned. And of course, a lot of us need to realize that this competition where Usain Bolt started in 2003. In the 100 meter, that was it started this ways. So we had even the Grenadian athlete, the 400 meters Olympic champion, what's the name? The Korean guy, Korean James. So it came from this team tournament. So let's see what will happen in the next 5 years. It's not just about winning the youth championship. What happened between now and probably the next 5, 6, 7 years?
Well, let's find out what will happen in the next 5 years. But when it comes to age grade competitions, well, we probably don't have long to wait. Nigeria has done very well, particularly in the under-17 categories. Yes, maybe we have issues of age discrepancies here and there. But then we have another opportunity coming up in the United Arab Emirates, and the Golden Eaglets are in camp at the moment. We have the details of these, and of course we might be hearing from one of the team's coaches when we return from the break in just a moment. To stay with us.
You know, when it's hot, it is sweltering, and when it's cold, it could be frigid. Water levels are rising, flood is rampant, diseases are on the increase. Green monster flourishes on our waterways. Scientists say it is climate change. Politicians negotiate it, and world leaders debate it. But what do you make of it? Understand your climate. Make sense of the world on Earthfile.
Welcome back at Sports Tonight on Channels Television. And, well, at this point, Nigeria's under-17 national football team, the Golden Eaglets, are in camp in Abuja preparatory to the under-17 World Cup in the United Arab Emirates. But then the question on the minds of many Nigerians would be, of course, Nigerians have gone through preparations, have gone through qualifications, but what the coaches are saying at the moment is that they're still going to be screening new players to take to the World Cup proper. It's like starting from the scratch. Gentlemen, very strange development indeed. Coach Manu Garba is quoted to have said it's important to take a look at some new players for some specific positions because what we want is the best for the country. And I am just wondering, the best for the country, you mean after all the qualifying matches, you still have not been able to get the best from the feet, so to say, that you've had, and then you have to now start all over again. So what about the players who prosecuted the qualification campaigns?
I don't think it's a wholesale change. It's not a wholesale change. Manu Garba and his colleagues, Nduka Ogbade, Manuel Amunike, Emeka Amadi, they've done a good job. Some of us are already pleased. Some of us are happy with this squad, even if they don't get to win anything. This is the closest set of under-17 boys that are near the age, so to say. Let me put it that way. But I'm not accusing anybody of anything anyway. But
no, I mean you actually have. If you're saying near, that means, of course.
But the point is,
talking about
these boys,
20-year-olds masquerading as 17-year-olds.
But these boys are truly young. That's just the point that I want to bring up.
But do they fall within the age limit? That's the question.
Well, someone said if a child's parent says my boy is 17 and he has a passport, you can't argue with that.
Well, of course, I remember a certain Philip Osondu whose mother swore that he was 16 years old, and then when he went to Belgium, instead of growing vertically, he was growing horizontally. And I mean, we know that eventually the real age was unmasked, and he should have been playing for the Super Eagles or the Green Eagles then, not the Golden Eaglets. So, I mean, first of all, integrity is called to question, but then apart from the MRI scans, are there any other ways we can actually ascertain the true ages of these players? How foolproof is the MRI scan anyway?
Well, looking at the MRI scan, of course, something must be used to detect something. Whether you can't get 100% foolproof, no matter what the system will look like. You can't, even if you put up a machine at the airport and just to detect drug peddlers, some will go scot-free, while some will be caught. Of course, so you can't get 100% proof because the only divine, only God that can determine who and who has something to hide. But for human, we can escape. But I think the MRS test is such just to try to reduce these allegations of using players who are not of this same age. Remember the last African Junior Cadet Championship in Morocco. We saw what happened to our team. 3 of the players were affected by the MRI scan, and of course one went to the Flying Eagles. And so it goes to show that at least if we can have 3 affected based on the MRI investigation, it means there's an element of credibility in the same team. Well, we must give them that benefit of doubt. So
let's say some of these players, many of these players were born in the later 90s, let's say 1996, 1997, if they have to fall within the age range bracket. But then, are we trying to say that at that time of our history, we did not have birth records? I mean, 17 years ago, those birth certificates, for instance, should still be available.
Charlie, you know that there's
40 players in camp, and then all of them have lost
Charlie,
their birth certificates.
You must have heard my certificate got lost in transit.
In transit from where to where?
Yeah, so of course, you must have heard that before.
And then you're talking about 40 players, and all of them.
No, what I'm saying, I'm not
got lost in transit.
I'm not holding forth for these players. I'm saying, what of the nomadic farmers, the Fulanis? Where do they give birth?
How many of
them?
But
how do you determine who's the Fulani?
How many of them have actually been called up? How many of them are nomads?
I'm trying
you are drawing a hypothetical situation that doesn't hold water in this case at all.
No, Charlie, no. If you say it doesn't hold water, but what if you find a situation like that? What would you do?
Of course, I mean those.
How many people keep records?
Those are actually exceptions, not the rule. But then in this case, missing birth certificates have become the rule.
but I think our focus really shouldn't be on whether or not, because actually
that has been the major taint on Nigeria's participation in age grade competitions, age cheating, and up till now we've not been able to find a viable solution to it.
Well, I think there's a marked improvement this time out, and I feel in subsequent editions of the competition, we'll get to a point.
Look, in a lot of cases, a 20-year-old can masquerade as a 17-year-old, even if it's an 18-year-old playing.
Charlie, how do you determine
at 16?
Okay, now let's go back.
Let's go back.
That's why
which can be forged.
We need a system where we have poor record keeping in this country. No matter what you want to say about what. Of course, you can say some states you don't keep record. Some you don't. Some
don't even have
record. Some they can tell you that some of
In
these
which states? What states are you talking
I
about?
won't mention states. But the fact is that some government hospitals don't keep.